I love Bloomington as a community because it is a fabulous place to call home. I'm somebody who has traveled across the globe, lived in the United States and in other countries, and I've chosen to be here. It's an incredibly vibrant community, no small part to the university being located here, Indiana University, but also because we are surrounded by just an amazing environment. Hills, trees, trails, lakes. Indiana is a beautiful place to live, and Bloomington and the surrounding counties are something special. Community development finance institutions are really unique, I think, in the world of finance, in that they are often, well, almost always, more focused upon community development versus profit. It puts them in a very specific, I think, space that allows them really just to become community development partners in a community. They can do everything, right? From thinking about, financing and tax credit syndication for a housing project, to really doing long-term one-on-one technical support with and for an entrepreneur. I think CDFIs are uniquely positioned to allow communities to address whatever is the most pressing need in their community at any given point in time. I think that's part of the strength of a CDFI, is that they evolve, and because there's such a breadth of different types of CDFIs across the country that are willing to really operate across a broad footprint, we really can find a CDFI at any point in time that is focused on the things that are priorities in the moment. Sometimes that's housing. We know how significant housing is in our region. We've recently done an 11 county housing study, and we can tell you to the number how many houses we need by 2030 in rental and owner-occupied, affordable workforce and market rate. And so we can begin to pull the threads to see who can help us meet some of those goals. But on the flip side, they worked with us during the pandemic to be able to help deliver some pandemic recovery supports in a unique way. I don't think you can really categorize exactly what a community needs from a CDFI, other than to say it will evolve over time, and CDFIs have the capacity to support that evolution. Our journey really began in 2017 when we were looking at creative ways to bring financial capacity to our particular community, which in the process grew to be a region, right? Because as we learned through this process, that small urban areas and rural areas just generally don't have access to this type of capital. And so as we were exploring the options, this concept of a CDFI friendly community evolved with the support, right, and guidance of Mark Pinsky. And today, I think we can say that that vision for how communities like ours can get the benefits that you might more often see in urban areas has really become pivotal for us. We've learned a lot about the potential of CDFI to support a community, and from where I sit, wearing a couple of hats, right? Both as the president and CEO of our local community foundation, but also running a regional economic development organization. We've really learned that it takes way more than a village, right, to bring the resources you need and to make sure that those that are living in a community and those who call it home, right, have access to what I think is essential for all people. And so I think that we have learned that working with CDFI Friendly America allows us to access a broad network of people with expertise, people with access to resources that we might not have here, and really just connect us into a broader, I want to say, ecosystem of opportunity that supports communities in a very diverse way. think when we think about the accomplishments of CDFI Friendly Bloomington, which really maybe should be CDFI Friendly Indiana Uplands, because it really goes beyond this one city. For example, one of the projects I think that we were really proud of was a partnership with Sinair, a CDFI, that allowed us to renovate some units within a senior housing development, over 100, and then add 50 more new units, specifically that are affordable and for seniors. So this is in a relatively small town of only 6,000 plus people that sits in our county, but one that would have had a really hard time, right, achieving some of the supports necessary to accomplish something like this. It really aligns with the aging demographic that we see in our country, and so it just becomes so incredibly relevant to what we want to accomplish as a community. And so I think we've been able to be part of that, to help secure a capital stack for a number of housing projects and really drive the concept of cooperative housing in our community, which is a kind of a niche within the CDFI world. And so able to find a CDFI that really supports that particular type of opportunity, just going to show that, CDFI friendly communities really gain the ability to support a broad range of needs in a community. Even the arts, we recently, were able to give a local artist from a diverse background the opportunity to participate in a public art RFP, because we could give them the funding up front for the materials that would allow them to participate in a way they wouldn't have been able to otherwise. We just want to ensure that our communities and all those communities with which we connect thrive. I mean, ultimately, the goal is to ensure that communities and individuals thrive in a variety of ways and that they really are able to achieve their aspirations as individuals, organizations, and communities. So, no small feat, right? Originally, the work of CDFI Friendly Bloomington, or the development of CDFI Friendly Bloomington, was a partnership between the City of Bloomington and the Community Foundation of Bloomington and Monroe County. And so we used funding from obviously our own coffers, but as well from the Bloomington Urban Enterprise Association. We also, though, were seeking funding to support a capital enhancement fund so that we could participate when it was appropriate in some of the funding opportunities. And so again, it was a couple of government-related entities that really were the initial investors in that particular fund. But yeah, so the Urban Enterprise Association and the RDC, both government entities, were supportive of the Capital Enhancement Fund. Had the opportunity to offer advice to others thinking about a CDFI-friendly community-type approach. I think number one, I would encourage them to think creatively about the potential. I think of CDFIs and CDFI-friendly communities as accelerants, right? That really allow communities an option for expediting the hard work that drives many of us every day, right, in community development, and really allowing us to maybe avoid some of the frustration that comes with hard work and hard problems, and that allow us to be better as communities as we are trying to serve the needs of all people. So I think at the end of the day, that CDFIs and CDFI-friendly communities make us more attractive as communities and really allow us to deploy assets in a way that just wouldn't be possible without that type of partnership. Some guidance we might offer to others is don't think too narrowly about the reach of your CDFI-friendly entity. As time goes on, I think you may find that not only will that be important for you to think about the interconnectivity between communities and counties, but also in the process of sourcing deals, it helps you to have a broader footprint.